Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Power Digital Thursday edition of Hard Talk. And today, our special guest and host is Mickela Panday.
Good evening, my friend. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Hope that you are okay too.
I am. I missed you last week, and my
Yes.
deepest apologies for that. You know how things get in Trinidad when there's a little bit of rain.
Yeah.
Um, we we can get sort of delayed, but everything is going good. Everything is going good. Um, at the funeral I went to today, a friend of mine, a colleague, his mom, she was elderly though.
Mhm.
But it's always interesting at funerals. You always see, and weddings, you
Yeah.
always see people who you haven't seen for such a long time.
Yeah, it's a great reunion.
It is a great reunion in an ironic way, but
Yes.
it's always so good. So just looking and seeing what's been going on. Have you had a look at this cyber attack on TSTT?
Well, I was doing some reading up of it, and I find it so strange, and to know that in this day and age, with all the security that they talk about, where the cyber activity or activities are concerned, it was shocking to know that like a company as TSCT would have fallen into that kind of situation.
I mean, like I say, it can happen, and we'll kind of go through the chronology of it. It can happen, but again, you're right. A
Mhm.
company like TSTT. So I have friends abroad, and they have companies and things, and it doesn't matter how small it is, they are
Mhm.
always on top of the latest
Yeah,
software to prevent from these kinds of attacks,
yeah,
because you're dealing with people's information and the private information. And I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
for us talk about that a little bit, because
Hmm.
what they were saying was that on October 9th, and we have to think about, that's almost a month ago,
Hmm.
that these international hackers, Ransom X, I
Yeah.
think they call themselves, but they had announced that they had infected TSTT with some ransomware and stole 6 gigabytes of its data. So
Yeah.
they had said names, email addresses, national ID number, phone number, and then they said a lot of other sensitive data. And it has affected 1.2 million customers in Trinidad and Tobago
Hmm.
as well. And basically, what happened is that the data was dumped on the dark web,
Hmm.
and I got some IT people to have a look, and my information is out there. And so my name was on there, and so was my father's.
Wow.
And so I can speak from a point that nobody has contacted us. We haven't gotten any kind of email. And I'm not saying us because we are any more important than anybody else, but you would expect that the
Hmm.
company will contact their customers. It's important.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, this talk, you heard at the beginning of last month. It took TSTT till the 31st of October
Hmm.
to respond. And they said, and I quote, there was no loss or compromise of customer data.
Hmm.
That is, no data was deleted from TSTT's database or manipulated. That's not the issue, though. It was put onto the dark web. So they didn't have a problem because they didn't delete the information or manipulate the database. But people's private information was put out there.
That's right.
And then on the 3rd of November, they admitted, TSTT admitted, again after first denying it, that the 6 gigabytes of data was leaked after a cyber attack. And it said it originated from a legacy system and contained data which was no longer valid. And I'm not sure about that, because we're hearing something else from investigative journalists today.
Yeah.
So TSTT comes and they say the data reveal names, email addresses, home address, a limited amount of ID scams. A limited amount, what does that mean? Some customer account information like billing address, mobile numbers, payment receipts, and letters of authorization.
Hmm.
All right. The company also said that the data dump did not contain call records, transactional data, customer passwords, credit card information, and financial information. That's what they said. But you see, Dave, why I wanted to talk about that today is because despite the denial by TSTT of the 6 gigabytes of data uploaded to the dark web, right? From October 9th, the breach contained that it contained no banking and credit card information. We're now hearing that it did. So I'm asking myself, and I could imagine that most people that it would have happened to don't know that their name is on it. That's one. They haven't been informed, because I can tell you I wasn't, and I know that it's on the dark web. I know that for a fact. You do a deep dive into dark web and you'll find it, and it looks a bit strange. But you know, I know my name and I know my address and things like that. And so they haven't told anybody, but they haven't told us what we need to do.
That's right.
Do we need to contact the bank? What is happening? People can steal our identity. If we've written letters of authorization for people, can they now use that as authorization for somebody else? And it's a very, 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 very serious thing. Now, again, like I say, cyber attacks can happen in this digitized world that we live in. But you see, once again, we are experiencing a breach in public, or a breakdown in public confidence by the way that they respond and react to things.
Yeah.
TSTT denied when the rumors started circulating last month that there was a breach of their data. They denied it. Then we had the minister, Gonzalez, publicly denying again when the rumor had come out that was true. When it turns up now that they're saying, well, listen, it is actually true. The minister says he didn't get proper information, which could be correct, but the government owns the majority of TSTT's issued share capital, 51%.
Yeah.
And if we can't, I'm not saying you can prevent it completely. These hackers are on the ball, but how are we, as the unsuspecting public, supposed to feel? Yawn could be on there for all you know. It could have been whose information is out there. So surely, if their data wasn't manipulated, but what went outside and what was breached, contact people, send out an email, let people know, and give some kind of guidance as to what we need to do. Do you need to cancel? People with credit cards, do you need to cancel your credit card? What happens in terms of ID cards and the stealing of people's identity, which we know happens all the time? Why? And this is probably what frustrates me more. So I think it was the CEO and the minister was saying, oh, he can't fire nobody and he can't this. And I'm not, that's not for me to say. Had I been that lady, and I know her very well, she's a very nice lady, I would have resigned. Maybe that is not the way to go. That may cause more complications. But it's just, in this country, the citizens always feel like they're in the dark, because we always are in the dark. We know nothing. And then when you get to a stage, Dave, where you don't even know anything when it comes to your own private and personal information, there is a complete breakdown in the confidence of public institutions.
Yeah.
Who is to be held responsible? Tell me. Heads never roll in Trinidad.
No.
What we see is a shift of responsibility. There is no accountability. What we get is either an independent, quote-unquote, investigation, or there's some kind of commission of inquiry which is launched, for which we never hear what has happened, or somebody go to court to prevent the release. of the reports, or it is now a matter of national security. And the only thing that happens is people within the inquiry and the lawyers are paid millions of dollars, and we hear no more.
That's right.
We hear no more. And I mean, are we supposed to, for example, be afraid? I mean, this has not happened. It would not have happened to most of us ever in our lives before. But what are we supposed to do? There's no guidance. Instead, everybody tries to protect their position and shift responsibility. You know, you never see a minister resigning, anyone in authority resigning, anyone in authority, minister, whoever, being fired. And when you do see it, it's because it's completely about as a probably a reaction to public outcry.
Yeah.
And that is why today, Dave, we have, to me, there has been a complete loss in confidence in the government. I mean, how else are you supposed to feel? You're looking at 1.2 million of your citizens, and we suppose they have 1.4 million. So that's the majority of your population.
Yeah.
Right? And well, as I know, I've seen some investigative journalists doing some good work, but you know, if they don't do it, and if they don't put it on a newspaper, we just never know. So again, I say, are we simply supposed to just carry on like normal, or is there some kind of action we should be taking? And then, if our personal information is used for something, what are our rights? Is the bank going to give you back money if there's some illegal transaction done in your name?
Yeah.
You know, I just don't understand. You write to your customers, send your customers some kind of information. But to be honest, maybe they're not bothered to do that because I don't know who's going to believe. Who is going to believe? But not only that, who is going to be held responsible? Or who is going to say, listen, I was the person, the ultimate responsibility lay with me. And these things happen, and you know, it's happened under my watch, although I did not take part in this illegality directly. Surely if we were in another country, something would have given way, something has to happen.
Yeah.
And we see absolutely nothing. I mean, I've seen before government ministers either resigning, being forced to resign and things like that. But that is after everybody gets so upset by it. Or the media really clings on to it and drives the point home relentlessly. And then, you know, you feel that there's more damage happening to your party. And therefore, out of self-preservation, you say, well, listen, you have to resign if somebody gets fired. But until then, nothing happens in Trinidad. There's no Antibago. There is no accountability at all. And I find that so sickening because, you know, I will never like to describe my country as a banana republic, but I don't see other, you know, other countries, even in the Caribbean, of where we are so far ahead in every way, not dealing with things head on, taking responsibility. I've never heard anyone say sorry. I've never heard anybody turn around and say, you know, we apologize. Everything is, I'm so disheartened, and this is really worrying. Yeah. But it's worrying to us. If I didn't have IT people to go and check for me, I would not have known. And therefore that leaves how many? So they did say I think it was the Prime Minister and a couple other ministers, and their information had been sort of breached as well. But what about everybody else who is not in any kind of position of power? How did you know that their own was? You would have seen it. And you would have informed them. But what about everybody else? And this too, like everything else, will be simply just brushed under the carpet. And I could think, I'm not even going into a whole month. Look at just the other day, and within the same theme of what we're talking about. National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines distanced himself from the $1 million purchase of 20 unusable wooden ladders for the fire service. You remember that?
Yeah.
Right? And has called, and I quote, for a thorough investigation into the contract. Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that a thorough investigation? What does that mean? Okay, I'm happy because investigations have to take place. And when the investigation takes place, what is the outcome? What is the outcome? $1 million is a lot of money. You go and buy 20 unusable wooden ladders for the fire service, and nobody. You distance yourself. So isn't it that the ultimate responsibility lies with somebody? Who does it lie with? And the minister's response, again, it's his word. I don't want them to say that I'm misquoting them. The permanent secretary would have dealt with that since it was within the limit for purchase, which was 999. And I think it's $1 million is the limit for purchase, right? By the permanent secretary under our financial regulations, right? And then immediately says, it had nothing to do with any minister of government per se. So what happens then? What happens then? So that's the end. So the permanent secretary, who they put the blame on her, and they say, listen, they have an amount of money, they have a certain degree of autonomy to spend that, with the limit being $1 million. And they bought 20 unusable wooden ladders. And it has nothing to do with any minister of government. So tell me, then you don't need ministers of government? Surely we don't need them. Let the permanent secretaries and those underneath run the country, or maybe they are. If you don't know what you're doing, and there are people underneath you, and you do not know, and you cannot get the information, and you take no responsibility, and ultimately I assume that the responsibilities must lie ultimately with a minister. I don't expect you to know everything that's happening, but take some kind of control over a situation. Unless you're saying to me that ministers have no power. I don't know. Is it that ministers have no power? So that happens, and it goes away. But I don't know if you remember in 2012, People's Partnership. I don't know if you had remembered. I mean, 2012 is a long time ago, but it's still a lot of money. There was a water tender from, I think it was, I feel like it's Arima Fire Station.
Yeah.
I think they were responding to a report. And it ran off the fire truck ran off the road, and I think it was a 300 feet cliff or some kind of thing, but I know it went over a cliff.
Yeah, in the Blanchisseuse area, yeah.
Correct, because it was responding to a report from a call from Blanchisseuse. In December of 2012, months after it happened, right? Cabinet approved a price of $6.8 million to retrieve that fire truck.
Yeah.
Explain that. So that's done. $6.8 million.
Yeah.
Taxpayers' money. Okay? You know what you could do with $6.8 million?
I tell you.
Right? You're going to pull out a fire truck with a crane, and somebody give you a quote for $6.8 million, and these men and women sat down in that cabinet room, around a cabinet table, and signed that off. It's not their money.
Exactly.
It's not their money. So let us spend the 1 million on the 20 unusable wooden ladders. Let me spend the 6.8 million to retrieve the fire truck. I don't know. Where is there anywhere in this country right now where there is any kind of accountability? Okay, where? I mean, maybe you could think of something that I don't know, because I always like to look at both sides of it. It's not because it's the government or it's or the former government or the opposition. I just where is accountability? And I feel also that we have become accustomed to that. So we don't call for it. And we also feel, as citizens, if we call for it, what are they going to do about it?
Yeah.
What we could do? And none of your business. So it's done. But it's taxpayers' money. And at the same time, when you're wasting it and you're mismanaging it, you're telling us you have none. You're telling us that this country has no money. If this country had no money, we would be looking at our spending more carefully, surely.
That's right.
We would be managing our finances better, surely. Surely. And I just bring that up. We had the Beetham wastewater plant treatment. Billions were spent over that. Have you seen? That is covered with grass now. The land that they cordoned off.
Yeah.
Billions. The government comes and talks to us about the billions that was wasted on the highway project.
Yeah.
This isn't the government even just calling out numbers. The Prime Minister has said, I'm going to read from this so I don't get anything wrong. Billions of dollars through waste, corruption, and mismanagement. And nobody could retrieve the people's money back. There is no law to prevent this from happening, at least in the future? Or is this how this country will just continue running under both of those parties?
Well, I wonder to myself, that's a great question. They have realized that some of the people don't stand up for anything, so they're very comfortable.
And they'll be voted back in.
Of course.
Right? Or they will swap them and give somebody else, the other party, another 5 years, and they'll do it, and then they will come back and they'll talk about it, and they'll come back and they'll talk about it. Where is accountability? What would have happened if this was a company, a private company? And one of the things, before I go to WhatsApp, one of the things I say, and we've mentioned this before, Dave, how many of these people in government and these people in high positions on boards and chairman and CEO and whatever it is, spending taxpayers' money, how many of them would you employ if you had a company? How many of them would you employ? But we are asked to vote for them. Would you want any of these people to run your company? But you're saying it's okay to run your country.
Well, I think in the private sector, their approaches are so much different that what they can get away with in the public sector is difficult to get away with in the private sector.
But why is it easy to get away with it in the public sector?
Checks and balances are out the window.
Exactly. And everybody doing it. And everybody take their chance or their time to drink at the trough, to rape the treasury, become multimillionaires, and now I know Trinidad has billionaires.
Yeah.
And poor people catching their tail. How does that work? And be allowed to do that when we have laws in this country, Misbehavior in Public Office, the Prevention of Corruption Act, the presumption that if you are given something that it is fraudulent, that you have to show that it was not given fraudulently, that you did not receive this. How does it do that? You have year after year, you're calling each whoever is in your opposition, calling and saying how much money you spend on this, right? Lawyers. Both parties have said $1 billion.
Imagine.
On a handful of lawyers, $1 billion. They are putting the amount that they got. We have rules and regulations as lawyers that guide us as to how much you can charge per hour. When a lawyer tells you, when you hear that a lawyer gets $57 billion, if they work for 10 lifetimes, it wouldn't calculate to that. Why are we in this? Why are we in this? And why is it? It will never end. It has to change. It has to change. I don't want to hear anybody of either of those two parties talk about corruption during this election. Honestly, they're not in the position to do anything. I am not saying you have to look up people. I'm not saying that. You have information. The police investigates. The police does a report. The police gives it to the DPP. The DPP then recommends whether charges should be bring. Then, okay, in certain cases, we saw that it was done. Then when it was done, you turn around with the former AG and someone else recently. They mess it up because they file a defense on time.
Chicks of trade.
Everybody know what they're doing. Don't tell me that. You must have people working there that say, I don't have all of them kind of cases, this, but you have a board up, or you have electronically that it pops up on your Google Calendar to say, right, 2 weeks before, I have a defense due. I have to do a reply to my submissions. I have to do. If you cannot do that, and you're the Attorney General's office, how much was it? 55 billion for a building that the DPP never went in. Look at how much money just now we talked about in that short period of time of taxpayers' money. And we are supposed to sit down and say it's okay to charge us property tax. It's okay to increase the electricity bill. It's okay to raise all these things. It's okay to put the burden of waste, corruption, and mismanagement onto the taxpayer. And then when people go to vote, they're too busy watching vote. That one do that, this one do that, this one do that. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed to see. Sometimes you see on social media people making excuses for the parties. When it's your money. It's your money. It's your money when they fix the road. That is their job. You don't have to have a big ceremony to open a road. You know how much money is spent on those ceremonies in itself, Dave? To cut a ribbon to say you did something?
I tell you. That is always mind-boggling for me. You know, I wonder what's the reason for that, and why should it be spent like that? Yeah. When there are other roads to be maintained and rehabilitated and all of that.
You have to have a function. You have to rent tent. You have to have refreshments.
Yes, and premium refreshments.
And premium refreshments as well. And you look nice and you cut the thing and you say, right, that's your job.
Of course.
You don't get rewarded for doing your job. Your pay is the reward for doing your job.
That's right.
That's your job. Right? You have a mayor of Chaguanas who lives on TikTok. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. this business is opening in Shagonas, that is opening in Shagonas. What is your job? What is your job? What is your role and responsibility? They open they move the healthcare center from where it was in Shagonas, where people could have parked or they could have walked. They put on a little side street, literally just right next to where my office is. It has no parking there anyway. And now now it's even worse. They don't even have places people to sit down outside and wait, and you build a whole new building. And you're walking up and down the road. And I see it because this is where I work. You're walking up and down the road and you're TikTok and this and that. And literally not even, I don't even want to say a meter, because it is the road that I'm on borders that road. So it borders it. You can't drive on that road. You can't park on that road. You can't. I stop and I just get my files and my bits and bobs and I walk down, because you mash up your car.
I tell you.
I just find it so, it's so sickening now. It's so sickening now. And again, today, where I live in the south, my neighbor come and all the restaurants and things, they write a letter, they ask me, if I would sign it as well, and you put your WhatsApp account number and just tell them, listen, we don't have water, we're not getting water, we're not this, we're not that, and it's really, really, really unbecoming now. And I said, sure, if that's what that's what you would like to do, I mean, I support that. But I have to tell you, I don't think anything comes out of that.
Exactly.
Right? So which takes me, because you know how we I know it's throughout the country, so I don't want to make it look like it's just South, but we live in the South, so we can speak from experience. We ain't taking tablet for other people's fever. We telling you what is going on. This man, Alistair Bandu is the WASA board commissioner. He is warning contractors, right, that come 2024, quote unquote, like the song Marshall Montano sang, the party done, right, for contractors, right? He telling them that. Well, I said, well, what is this madness now? Let us see what this is. And I quote them. He says, the authority, that's WASA, right?
Yeah.
Was turning over a new stone in the new year. So, whatever happened, November and December, and then look out, right? As part of it, he said that WASA would no longer tolerate subpar work from its contractors. Question number one, were you doing that all the time?
I tell you.
That's the first thing. I wonder if they listen to themselves, or whoever writing their speech, that they read it over. He says, to all the contractors, all freeness done. So there was freeness all the time. I just asking, in the words of Marshall Montano, he said, the party done. Right? So you telling me every single year prior to 2024, when this new stone is going to be turning over a new stone, that freeness was allowed to happen. Are you admitting that? By one. He says you would be held to account. So you was never held to account before. That's what it's saying to me. Yeah? He says we are no longer accepting cost overruns. So you were accepting cost overruns before. Lengthy delays. So you were accepting lengthy delays before. And shoddy works. So you were accepting shoddy works before. He says all of that is going to stop in 2024. Right? He says for the water and sewage authority, it starts now. It starts today. What? What starts now? So freeness done. They're going to hold contractors to account. They're not going to accept cost overruns. They're going to stop lengthy delays, and they're going and shoddy works. So is that what you were doing all the time? And why was that then allowed to happen? Again, we're coming back within the same thing that we're talking about: accountability and transparency, and people being held responsible. If you can accept that was happening, Okay? You now saying the party done. If you can accept that was happening, freeness, and nobody held accountable, cost overruns, lengthy delays, shoddy works, if you were aware that that was happening, what now are the repercussions? And what happens to the contractors who participated in that or who were guilty of that? They have all been paid. Is there no record of them? You know who did the shoddy works? Who holds them responsible? Are they now still getting contracts? I don't think this is mathematics. It's simple and says it, you know, with a straight face. And I think it was the Newsday, because it was some event that he was at, and the Newsday said did an interview with him, and he says over 2023, he says the authority has made strides over 2023, right? That's this year, in how it executed projects, and it's intended to continue in the new year. Really? Really? I'd like to see some evidence. I'd like to see some examples. I'd like to see some facts, right? Man says it's a different level of oversight that the contractor will feel from the authority. So what was the oversight before, Dave? The man says the level of inspection, the level of oversight, the level of accountability, the management from WASA leadership teams, it will be more intense. What was it before? I don't know. And says, we intend to take a different level to ensure that every cent that is spent from the public purse is well spent. I am sorry to tell you that I don't believe that. I'm not saying that he's not telling the truth. This is acts to happen in the future. I'm telling you, I do not have faith that that will happen. And I would have liked the journalists to have asked, well, what were you doing all the time? Waste, corruption, mismanagement. Destroying Trinidad and Tobago. It is destroying Trinidad and Tobago. No institution functions. Why? No accountability, no transparency, and people are not getting jobs based on meritocracy. We talk about that. That is that you are qualified for the job. Political patronage, cronyism. Put some young people to do it then, who are qualified. Put young people to come in and run it, because clearly it ain't working. It's not working. You coming to talk to this country in the end of 2023 to say all freeness done? Are you then, sir, telling me that it was a set of freeness? All that freeness on way hand of water. And you think it's cool to quote Marshall Montano and say the party done? I know a few parties going to be done, but what? When you don't have water, then you don't have water. And I have to say, you know, you have different contractors who are working with WASA who will come and drop water and things for you. But that's how most people throughout the country.
At a price.
At a price. And hold on. And remember, you have these contractors, again, I don't know where they get the water from. So this is not because WASA water, they come and drop it, they say it's free. But when you go and they say, and I said, I'm not going to buy water. I pay my WASA bill. Like for the transport. I'm paying for water, I'm paying for transport.
But I know contractors who tell you how much it is based on the size of your tank. If it's a 450-gallon tank or a 500 tank or a 1,000-gallon tank, they charge you for that. They don't charge you for transportation.
charging you for, but that's not legal. And that is why it is done under the guise of saying, it's water. It's transportation for the water.
Yeah.
How long does WASA intend to continue like this? And does anybody in this country believe that anybody is going to be held, any contractor will be held to account? That there won't be cost overruns? That there won't be shoddy works? Does anybody believe that? And I'm not saying, I want to bring gloom and doom. I'm happy if that comes to fruition. I'm happy. But I don't believe it will. Do you believe it will?
At all. I don't.
WASA will keep an eye on contractors. Was it not keeping an eye on contractors before? So now we understand, with him trying to put a positive touch on what will happen in the future in 2024, what will happen, he made it very, very clear to me, at least listening, that there was freeness, nobody was held to account, contractors were held to account, that there were cost overruns, that there was lengthy delays, that there was shoddy work, that they weren't keeping an eye on contractors. I am not saying this. He's saying the party done because they are now going to change it. And in order for you to change it, it must stop it, as the case may be. It must mean that it was happening.
That's right.
There's a different level of oversight that the contractor will feel from the authority. Well, what were you doing before? I just cannot. I would be ashamed to have said that. I don't know the gentleman. The gentleman must be a nice person, and this is nothing against him and or his character. I am simply saying, I think it would be interesting to, at least in the sense, in terms of accountability, to say, well, this is where it was falling short, and this is the department that there was not enough oversight, and this is what. Surely you tell us that. And that is just one company. So you could see how our country is hemorrhaging money.
I tell you.
I have no other word for it, Dave. Hemorrhaging money. And you still, after all of that, cannot provide water to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. After all of that. After all of that. You know how it is in South. In Point, that area I was telling you about, that a young lady had approached me, and there were elderly people living there, and where the oil company was, and they had not had water for 3 months. So if we are in a position where we cannot provide basic necessity for life, which is water, can't deal with anything else. Not in 2023. Right? If you need another desalination plant, the amount of billions that have been wasted, you could have built one.
Yeah.
You could have built one. Oh, you know how high, guys, it's expensive to build, and then it's expensive to maintain, this and that. No. You're not trying to find a solution, a viable solution to the problem of providing water to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. You're not trying. Because you must have, if you do not know, and that's okay, there are technocrats that you can go to, that you can speak to, that can advise you. There are people who can tell you the logistics, they can tell you the finances and what you need, and this. I don't expect a minister or prime minister to do that, but what is the vision? The vision is to provide water for all the households. in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay? How do I then achieve that? I do not know. But surely there are people who do. And if you are in government, and the PNM has been the longest, you had the People Partnership, you had UNC, you had NAR. Right? Put them together, that's the political counter. But you're looking from when the PNM have been in government. And surely a priority and one of that you list that's important to people is water. And that is households. So let's not even go into the farmers. Let's not even go into that. You would have, there was a couple of years ago, the 2 elderly people were burned to death in St. Julian.
Yeah.
I went to their house, my father's from St. Julian. I went to see the family. And the son said he's right there, the hose right there, and they didn't have water. And watched his parents burn. He says the old lady, his mother, fell into the ground, and the father sat down and he will not leave her. And he can't pick her up. And the son tried to run inside. And then the flames, you know how fire move fast.
Yeah.
And you have a stove, and you have this, and you have a gas tank and all that. He too would have died. So there was only so much that you could have done because there was no water. But hold on. When they called the fire truck, get ready, the fire truck couldn't pass because the road was bad. I went to see the road myself. But they have so much landslides they would have to go all the way around. When there's a straight road direct that you could take, I forget the name of the road, they would have to go all the way around. So the fire service couldn't do nothing. And there was no water in the taps. 2 elderly people who lived their life now burned to death because we have no water. What level of country are we then at? 4th world? I don't know. Water. And that is why it upsets me when I have to hear them talk about what's a turning over a new stone in 2024. I don't know what this water situation is like down by you. Has things changed?
Not really. There were instances when at one time in the area that I live, for 8 months, we had 8 months. I came on the radio and I spoke about it. At the time, the CEO was a Mr. Boris, and he tried to assist me by giving me telephone numbers that I could have contacted WASA offices in South. And I don't know what happened. Mr. Boris just disappeared in thin air. Some kind of wrangle-tangle caused him to be removed. I thought he was doing too much, so they probably removed him from office. And all the people that I had numbers for as contact to help all the people in the area for water assistance and things. When we called the numbers, there were no response to those calls after Mr. Boris left the office. So everything went straight back into a state of I don't know how to describe it, but for the last
nothingness.
State of nothingness. So it was difficult. And what blows my mind is that there are lots of water trucks, not WASA trucks, right? Private companies that are delivering water at a price.
Where are they getting it? And who opening the hydrant or the whatever it is? Who opening it for them to fill?
That's right.
Otherwise, we could go and fill too.
Yeah. Where they are loading these trucks, I don't know, but these trucks are always busy when pipeline water is very scarce. You see them all the time.
Wasa says, according to the act, it owns only water in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah,
So
that's what they
therefore,
said.
that's enough. They want only water in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, well, if you want only water in Trinidad and Tobago, I want to tell you that they have some people that where they getting it from. How are you authorizing them to do that? Who is opening the valve?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are they purchasing the water from Wasa to bring to people at a price?
Exactly. Even better question. Are they then purchasing and the water, and is that cost being transferred, or what is it? And if it is that they could do it, why must they do it?
That's right. That's what blows my mind, you know. I remember one time a truck came to give me water and the 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 driver or the man in charge said that I have to present a bill.
Yeah, always, yeah.
Before I get the water, I said, well, we don't get water, what bill I should be presenting?
Why am I paying bill? You
Yeah.
see, your water bill have to be up to date.
Hmm.
So even when you call, and let me tell you, get ready to be number 53 or 69 or whatever it is on the thing, and you're waiting. as if perpetuate rubber. But anyway, so okay, so you call, and then you have to give your account number, and then you give your reference number, and so on. Okay, good. Right. I know it good. I did it this morning. Hopefully to get tomorrow, and you have to accept that schools and hospitals have to get first. I'm in full agreement with that. That schools and hospitals and they have to get first. But the purpose of getting your account number is to see if it's up to date.
That's right.
And then you give your address. And I'm simply saying that and when they do come, and they're really good, hardworking people, and there's no blame to be passed on them, they're doing their job. And when they come, you have to show your bill. And you have to show the receipts to a bill that your bill was paid.
Yeah.
So Wasa can do 2 checks to make sure. One on the phone and one when they send somebody. 2 checks to make sure that you're paid. Right? But can't do the most basic of things. Who is allowed to stay in any position on any board, as any CEO, as any business, as anything, if you cannot do the job? Because I would like to know why that is such a hard thing to do. Okay, you need more dams. What do you need? I don't know. I'm not any kind of engineer. What it is that you need? You have a public utilities company that has been in the red for how long? I don't know if it was the Minister of Finance himself who had said at some time during, I think it was the budget session, and in response to some kind of thing like that. I can't remember exactly when it was. And they said that there was so much overruns, and that overrun was in paying contractors and paying wages and paying this and paying that. Not once did you UK was doing a job because it was doing its job. Not once. And therefore, when the money comes and the money is released, then the money gone again. Let's get serious here. If you're running a power, it's the same concept.
That's right.
If you're running a parlor, I'm not running a big company or business and this. I'm talking about a parlor. My grandma used to run a parlor. You gotta know how much ping pong you're buying, how much peanut gems you're buying, how much catch, how much this, how much that, how much sweet drink, how much that, right? How much money I have, that, okay, this, that. My grandmother wasn't Korean, right? But she was able to say, right, this is what this costs, this is what this is, and this is that. And my cousin will come and help her, we'll take off everything. I just say the concept. When people are doing good, we buy some more. And you say, all right, the bread van come in, so this is good, so that I can sell some bread in the parlor. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, things are going so good, and it was a little bit short here. Well, I had to cut this, maybe I need this, maybe I need that. How much, what are my fixed costs? So this is what electricity to do if I selling if I selling chubby and thing, you know, people like it cold, so how much make electricity bill? You know, I'm just saying. And I cannot accept that people just don't know it. I can't accept it. And if that is the case, go. I can't accept. Again, I can't accept. You're telling me you don't know that in 2024 you're now going to begin to try and get things working in a public utilities company to provide water for people? Or is it that we always have to be on our knees in this country? Begging for water, begging for road, begging for job. We always be just begging. Begging our governments to do their job. That's all we do. Make life so difficult for the people in this country. You've got to be heartless to do that, man. I don't know if people in Trinidad also, you know, think about it, or have you been so browbeaten that, you know, just accept it?
I think so.
My friend took her elderly aunt, and I don't know the details, I didn't get to talk to her, but she took her elderly aunt and uncle, social welfare, some kind of thing. Whole day around. And she's telling me that there is, if you see how much people you have, and they have a number system to pull out different color here and to do this, to do that. She said they had a fellow, and tell me how sick this makes you feel. They had a fellow who sat down there, and his mother, who is disabled, was in the car. So that lady sat down there for 6, 7, you know how much hours that lady sat down, because you know they like to reach early. And sit down there and this and that. Rain bust down. Alright? Then the officer found they had a sea sheet. So he says, you know, he said, the officer said, bring the car round. I mean, no, the lady, however the lady come out, she come out. You don't have somebody, you cannot go and see him. So now when he come back, poor guy, he lost his place in the line. And that is, and your elderly mother sit down in a car. And when it started to rain, the old lady must have to put your glass up and boil inside there. And you, no, it's raining. I'm not going outside in rain. Well, hire some young people, man. You don't have to leave your desk. Say, listen, what we're dealing with this, so and so on. We're dealing with customers who are disabled. That they're specifically there and are trained, and they will learn the job too. Trained to say, right, what it is that I need to look at, and it is, young people, where you go in the rain, get an umbrella or whatever. And you go and you say, yes, you know, auntie is in fact disabled, and this and that, or whatever the case is. And, you know, why is everything so hard? Why? And then when people get up and run and leave this country and prefer to go and catch tail and eat salt in a foreign country, illegally sometimes.
Yeah.
We wonder why. Asking their family who there before to sponsor them to run away from this country. To run away from this country, you're talking about elderly people. I'm sure when you went on the radio and you were talking about the water problem for 8 months in the area where you're talking, they had elderly people there.
Of course, it was the elderly people who came and asked me, David, when I go on the radio, please tell Wassa we need water. And it's been so long. Most of them were elderly people.
Exactly. And I have to tell you, I must bring this up before. You saw that there's this talk, and it gets me so angry. the government, the minister will say the government is going to digitize pensions. You saw that?
Yeah, I was saying about that. Well, how do many people?
I say, listen. The Minister of Public Administration, her name is Alison West, is saying, could you imagine retiring from the public service? And this is at a symposium or whatever of sorts at the Hyatt, of course. Imagine retiring from public service and having to wait as long as 5 years to collect your pension. You telling them that? They know that, ma'am.
That's right.
They know that, ma'am. They don't need you to tell them that, ma'am. And says the process is tedious. The process of ensuring that public servants receive their pensions when they retire is so tedious, and this and that and that and that. Oh Lord, you were there. You know today that it was tedious. You know, some of those elderly people will die before getting it.
That's true.
Right? And it is the reason. Again, I tell you, I listen. Words are powerful things because it's the meaning sometimes behind it. And this is what she said at it. This is what she said. So why is it so tedious? I think so. I waited to hear. Well, let me hear what this lady's going to say. And I quoted her. It can be difficult to locate all the necessary documentation, as much of the public service is still paper-based. I would have been ashamed to say that.
Yeah.
I would have been ashamed. It is difficult because you cannot locate documentation, because it's still paper-based. So who you want to make it non-paper-based? And how long have we been moving? The world has been moving, technologically advancing. Tell me. And listen, and this is worse. So on one aspect, we have that it is paper-based. But hold on. She added that the records are lost and can take years to find, which impedes the process of a public servant obtaining his or her full pension. However, she said, this is changing. How it changing, ma'am? Like how was that changing? Like how was that changing? Tell me. You know, you are telling people that you can't find a document, that things are still paper-based. How long ago they have computers? 20 years? More? What, maybe 20? Is it 20 years old? People were using computers to do a database. Well, call in the young people, man. They go whip that up and set up a nice Excel database thing for you, that name popping up on address and this and that, and when you qualify, and that. Easy minutes. Minutes. Right? And you see, I love to hear the language though. Right? She says, noting that HR improvement initiatives are progressing. What does that mean? Big words. West added that tangible improvements are expected to be seen over the next 2 years. And hear what, and if it's not, vote us in, because then you're going to bring it. Over the next 2 years, you've been there for 7. Why are you waiting till the election year to tell me that the improvements are going to happen? Over the next 2 years. And then comes beautiful qualification. However, I love the howevers, you know. The howevers are my favorite. Yeah. However, she said, there is, quote unquote, I've given you quite a long way to go. Well, let me know if they happen. You see that? Quite a long way to go. Quite a long way to go towards developing the requisite legislative and policy frameworks to support modern HR practices that promote fully digital backbend government services and the digital transformation of HR throughout the public sector. Blah, 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 blah. stupid. So let me break it down. There's quite a way to go towards developing the requisite legislative and policy framework. All right? What legislative that you need? What legislative framework that you need? Yeah, draftsmen to do that in the parliament. Draft it up.
Yeah.
Policy framework. Well, you set the policy because I know what you want to do. Surely, I'm going to develop the requisite legislative and policy framework. Now, hold on, Let me break it in half. Break it up in a few. Legislative, it's going to take a long way to developing the requisite legislative and policy framework to support modern HR practices. Them HR practices around ages ago, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because you are at paper. So even if you start what the world was at 20 years ago, even if you start there, you will be modern because you're still using paper. You'll be modern. You're still using paper, okay? To support the modern HR practices that promote fully digital back-end government services. Sorry, I can't help you with that because I don't know what that means. And the digital transformation. Gosh, I've heard another minister using that word recently. We talked about it. Of HR throughout the public sector. You're not going to do anything, ma'am. You're going to promise, and the government will promise to do that from 2025 to 2030, ma'am. And in 2029, you will tell me that there's a long way to go and it shall be done in 2030. And that by then, ma'am, many people would have still not gotten a pension.
But isn't there a ministry that was put in place for digital?
Transformation, digital something, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So let them do it. Let them sort of the policy and let them say, okay, this is what the laws are that we need, so and so, and you write it and go, and you take it to Parliament, and the drafts people draft it, and this, that, and you do all that, and you get out from taking all this time off of Parliament, get off your butts, get there, go, and debate your thing, and hopefully one end will vote against the next one, and all this, and get things moving. Telling people in 2023 that you can't find the paper because they put in the paper. They did their work.
That's right.
They did their job. They did what was required of them. And you sit down waiting for pension, and you have to retire. And then if you go to sell some corn, some super doubles or whatever on the side of the road, you have an income, you're entitled to this.
Yeah, I know that happened to a guy. You know, they found out he was making have a small income, and they took away the pension from him.
Yeah. So for 5 years, while you're looking for the paper, what are you supposed to do? You might be ill, you might need a little medication, a little this, a little that, you know. You have to pay the water rate for the water that you do have. You have to pay electricity that you're raising.
Have to buy food.
You have to buy food. You might want to give a little something to your grandchildren to help. A little school book, a little pencil case, a little something. Are you treating the elderly in this country like this? Why are you treating them like this?
How come they weren't preparing for these people who they knew would have been going on to retirement? I mean, they can't.
Because it's paper. Because it didn't have nothing digital. So you wouldn't know who coming up and how many. I suppose I already know how many. Who qualified, who this, who that. I'm supposed to know those things. That's what effective governance is. And don't talk to me about digital transformation again. I don't believe you. And whoever does, okay. But I am saying I don't believe that. And again, everything you say, okay, is this person or this one and that one and that one is for. You're asking people to give you the opportunity to run a country. That is what running a country entails. We are going into 2024. You have not done anything to be able to make sure that the people retired this month, next year, will be able to get the pension.
But people like that, they normally talk a lot when they're approaching retirement, you know. I going home just now, you know, boy. I not long here again. By next year I gone. So at that point in time, why aren't they putting the people's paperwork together so that everything will be in order? You can't wait till they're gone to start looking for their paperwork. And that is total madness.
That is incompetence. It's irresponsible. It's a dereliction of duty. It's negligent.
Some of these people die before they get anything, you know.
I'm telling you, I know about that. I know about that. Poor fella, there was a lady that lives near me. So she had this guy, all this fella, and he'll just come and, prune the trees and take it time. May I know what happened and who reported and what happened, and this poor fella. Yes, because you don't get your pension. These are the elderly in society. We talk about the vulnerable in society. These are the elderly in society, and they've given their time, life, work, service, our country, and you treat them with utter disregard. You know what elderly people want? Respect. They want to have dignity in their older age. And then when you have to go, how much time you have to go? Tell me how many times they have to go. You have to ask this one to get them a drop. If they travel, they'll take about 10 taxis. So whoever, whenever there's something, and there's son looking, and the daughter looking, and they're this, so they'll say, okay, well, wait, and let me see the grandchild. Let me see if the neighbor going out and sort out them, and you will go together, and you will sort this and that. And then when you go and do everything, you have to come back 20 more times. I am just saying that I am not in this kind of mudslinging thing. You know me long enough. I'm not in that kind of thing. These are facts. These are what ministers have said. Mickela didn't say that. Ministers have said that. And if we as a country do not find that this is unacceptable, well, we will continue in the downward spiral. That's all. What else can you say? We will continue in the downward spiral and end up like one of them other countries. But you see, Trinidad have money.
A lot.
So Trinidad isn't going to, Trinidad and Haiti and this and Trinidad have money. Trinidad could buy 20 ladder. And then pull out a fire truck, 6.8. And rent a building for 55. They had another building $120,000 a month left to occupy. And you can get the old people the paper for the pension.
Imagine that.
If we lived in another country, people would have been voting. And I'm not saying that I'm telling anybody to do that. Or peaceful protests. No, I'm simply saying, listen, do your job. What do you want to be in government for if you cannot do your job? What it is about it that you want to be there for? What do you want to be there for? If you cannot do your job, You know, I turn around and say, yeah, I want to be a radio DJ. Yeah, I want to be a radio DJ. I can't talk, but I can't do this, but I can't do that. I don't know. And even if I could do that, I don't know how to operate everything. But I go on for the job and I sit down there. What happened?
It is so true.
But I want to be a radio DJ because I'll be a celebrity and I'll be popular. And, you know, people will know my voice. And that's why I want to be there. But I can't do the job.
I tell you.
It's in every single aspect. And I always say, this did not happen to Trinidad and Tobago overnight.
No.
This has been a constant decline in management. Wasting, because it's not yours. Corruption. I tell you, I'm going to put on my earplugs. When I go to campaign, I listen to the rest of it.
I tell you. I was just about to say that because when 2024 kicks in, it's going to be a different conversation on the campaign trail. All of what is really required to be spoken about, the issues that affect people every single day, will be wiped aside, and it's mudslinging.
That's it. Who thief more? Who do this? Who do that? And where is that? And this corruption, that corruption. This is what this one doing. That's what this one doing. So and so. And you know what this one doing about this one wife. And this one so. And you know that and the human trafficking and the this and the that and that.
Yeah.
You listen to the level of debates and then you say, oh, for this member on that side, and what happened with the PTSD boss and what was happening. If laws are being broken and the government is aware of it, and they can't do nothing, what does it mean for us?
I tell you.
What does it mean for us? What does it mean for the people of Trinidad and Tobago? They have to stand up and say no and reject them, you know. Both of them.
I don't know, you know, but when the
bell.
When the election bell rings, the same people who will be complaining every day, I hear them in taxis, I hear them at the barber shop, I hear them in the supermarket, I hear them on the side of the road, and everybody has some sort of complaint and some sort of discomfort that they cannot deal with. And to be rectified, it has to be from governance, all right? And when the bell rings, I mean, I made a lot of noise for WASA to give us water back in at that time when these people came in front by me and said, David, we needed to do this and that. And the election bells rang after, and those are the same people I see come out.
Earliest in the morning.
I say, like, well, see me, I'm not going to do that again. I say, if I had to come on the radio to talk about water, I come in to complain to WASA about me not having water. I'm not doing it for no area again, because I was like shocked when I saw the numbers they came out in.
And before everybody.
Yeah. So it bothers me to hear them complain. And then the politician seems to know that these people, they only do is complain. We will go and talk about this and talk about that, because I was listening to a conversation or a speech based on the highway and what it cost.
I listened to it too.
I was at a finger pointing where that is concerned, you know. Yeah, so I often wonder why they do that. You know, a lot of things that are needed to be done. Well, I always talk from my area, you know, and I have a lot of support. I have a good friend who sent in some messages here. He's saying the money could have been used. He was speaking in reference to the money that was bad spent with the fire, to move the fire truck and stuff. It could have been used for an agricultural project in Library. Library's a community crying out for help for years. Is the only promises year after year. Library is PNM and PNM is Library, and what? David, I have projects in the community and environment. WASA's problem is mismanagement.
That's it. So he knows.
Yeah.
He knows. It's mismanagement.
Yeah.
And I say to him, friend, it's mismanagement, and it's also plenty waste and corruption.
And there's another big word they use, Mickela.
Tell me.
Misappropriation.
Oh, misappropriation of funds.
Yeah.
Okay, so you appropriate it and then you misappropriate it.
I do it. I fight some battles too. I took up these battles on my own. I joined organizations to see if it can be done. This same guy that who is sending these messages here, well,
Yeah.
of late, as of like sometime lately, I last Monday, I think, based on the show we had here, I got to know that there's this little organization in Library that is working on innovations. Okay, as a matter of fact, it's the Library
Nice.
Association of Innovation, if I have it correctly there. Partner, if I'm wrong,
Nice.
correct me. And I told them instantly, well, I didn't know anything about this. I have no knowledge about this. And I'm willing to be part of that too. You know, and just last week I told them, I said, David, you had enough, you know. You're trying too hard. Like I fed up, you know.
You know what it is, but you were happy something was being done and to
Yeah.
assist and help.
Because the group that I'm trying to lead, I'm not being paid to do this. I'm doing this to make sure that the community, you know, Library was not the way it is now. Library was a nice, bustling little village that was even more busy than Point Fountain. You know, it had everything that was needed to be a little borough because it had its own house, it had libraries, it had inland revenue office, everything Library had. You know, and the industries that were supportive of that kind of life in Library. Well, most of them were conscious taken down. You know, there's no more Texaco there that it used to be the oil company, had a small refinery. I worked there. Van Lake Company, that's a company that used to make oil drums and paint pans and all these things. That went through. The Lake Asphalt Company would dealt some serious blows and still being dealt blows.
Still being dealt.
So the area just Apple could have used to boast of having the best golf course in the Caribbean. You know, all of these things just crashed. You know, from a political point of view, I think that's the responsibility, or that is where the responsibility lie. The crashing of all these things. Now, Library is a desperate kind of place. So I had started this association, this little association that I am involved with, to bring about some kind of encouragement to the youth to be part of, to help them earn some money and all of that. You know, so I got into the media and I left it for other people to take control of and to operate and things. That and all fell down. And during the COVID, it really bothered me during the lockdown. So I said, David, I'm going to get back into it. So I got back into it. And I've been trying. Trust me, I've been holding meetings with a lot of heads in it. And everybody were in agreement. They like what I was talking about. And they still like what I'm talking about. But we're not going anywhere. You know, it's like, okay, we'll get back to you, or we'll call you, we'll contact you. You know, that is the game being played out straight up. A registration of the group, we've been danced this way and danced that way and banded this way and banded that way. And it cannot happen. And at the end of it all, they're saying, if you're not registered, you can't go forward in a partner. You need this registration. So I've tried all kinds.
Where's the will to encourage people?
Right. This is what bothers me. What I'm behind here, Mickela, I'm sure it can involve the employment of about 200 youth. And I think I'm falling short if it's been properly, put into effect. If that should be put into effect, I am sure, at least 200 youths in the library and environs could get some sort of income because of this project. It can start small and end up to the massive component that it could be. There's no doubts about it. It's been years and years and years I've been working on this thing. And it seems like people are listening, but nothing is being done. you know,
Because there's no will, there's no will, there's no will, there's no
the
will.
different,
These are people with the power to do things. And if they're not doing it, you ask yourself why? Why are you creating these obstacles? Because there's no political will. And if there's no political will, you have to then ask yourself why? Because you want people on their knees.
yeah. I told the group, I said, I'm on my last. I think I'm
Mm.
gonna stick around for a while because I don't give up that easy. If I told you it's years, I've been very, very instrumental in putting the group together back in years ago. I'm talking like since in the latter 80s, you know.
Wow.
And it's not
Wow.
no, it's not no
You
because
deserve a national award for that.
I got into the media in 91, 92, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
So I was very excited about that. You know, that was something I always wanted since I was a little boy. So when I got into that, I said, "Ole, here, man, take control of this. I going so, you know." But when I see it came to a dilapidated stage where it hardly existed, and I know the importance of it, I know what it can do for Labre, South Trinidad and Tobago, and the expose what it can do for the Caribbean by example, by extension. Everybody likes what I'm saying. I've been to a whole heap of meetings. I've met with all the heads, and they like what I'm saying. And then there comes a list of buts, but,
Mhm. Oh,
and
yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and but, and hold on, and do this, and
And call
wait,
this one.
and
And
call this
submit
number.
this.
And
Mhm.
I reach a fed up stage where I told the group on the last meeting, I think I have long again because this is
Mhm.
very frustrating. I'm not being paid for doing this, you know.
Mhm.
And there are people who are being paid to make sure these things happen, and
Exactly.
and it's just not happening. As though I'm talking crap. Sorry to use a word like that, but it
Yeah.
makes me feel so.
And sometimes you can see that they genuinely think it's a good idea, and then you know in your heart from the
Yeah,
moment
yeah.
that they're gone. Don't worry, I'll speak to this one or call this
Mhm,
person,
mhm.
write in this letter and do something and do that, and you know that
Yeah.
it is not going to go anywhere forward. And this is what I don't understand when you have MPs for an
Hmm,
area.
hmm.
You know, would you, for example, say as an MP for an area? I'm talking about all 41. I'm not just saying government.
Yeah.
I would ask somebody, you want to get an MP for an area? Okay, so what is your plan for the constituency?
Hmm,
Do you have a constituency plan? You don't have to worry about government that they get, but you must have a plan. I like to call it a constituency development plan. When I was in Orkut, I did that.
right.
I went to Sweden and I even owned it, but don't worry. Don't worry, I still have it. I still have it. Don't worry, don't worry. But I said, if I'm going to go for screening because it's a I'm going to call it a election or something like that, I didn't dare to be asked the stupidness that was being asked by me. I worked and I made a photocopy and I said how many people on the screening committee and I had a nice envelope and very nice and then I did write a constituency development plan
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I know that was what would have been asked before. That was not asked and was where loyalty was and who was this and who was that and what kind of stupidness. But my point is, surely you're asking to be an MP.
Hmm. Well, I
You
don't know.
know,
I am. I don't know. Sometimes I don't. That just means member of parliament. You know. I think that is where it stops. This is member of parliament. You see that commitment and motivation or the motivational part of it or the inspirational part of it. I don't see that happening at all. No. I am sorry to say that. You know.
you
I live
want to
very
say
I
an
live very close to the
MP.
MP. Had a nice conversation with the MP, and at the end of it all, I left there like, what the hell I went there for?
Yeah. You want a PBR pass. You want, I'm not saying this about any particular. I'm saying I know many of them.
No.
Right? You want the discount on the car,
Hmm.
right? Go in a constituency. I probably used to work 7 days a week. Because even when he would have his constituency there, I remember it so good. Even when he became prime minister, every Wednesday he was going into Cuba North. But you're also going in your constituency and only on a Sunday. Nobody had telling you to do no hard work. Only the people and talk to them now, sit down and old talk a little different things that going on, and put a little attractions like this and what's going on here.
Yeah.
What is it? And you are asking me to vote for you, and that is all you're asking me, because you're not telling me what you're going to do.
I don't know. I don't understand it. I have to see it in motion. I remember back in the days as a little boy, there was an MP called Mr. Alex. I think he did a lot. I think he was very active. He was accessible and all of that. But to me, the game has changed. The game has changed.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where I just need to sit in this chair.
It is about money.
Yes, and it's about
celebrity.
Yeah, me being here.
It's about me driving in this car and putting with my blackout windows. Yeah. And it's about somebody opening the door for me and for me feeling this and that. That's what it is about. I would like to see development in my constituency. Okay, how do you intend to? Labra is going to be different to Shaboras. Right? La Hoqueta might be different to Arima.
Of course.
What is it? What is it? I mean, when these fellas and them sit down to have meetings, besides eating and drinking, what are you doing? Nobody else said to eat and have you trying to have a good time and things, but what are you doing in your meeting? What's your agenda? What's your agenda? As I tell you, people may not like it with me or whatever. I lay my cards down. I deal with structure and order. You have a vision, you set your goal. How do we now go to achieve it? And we may not achieve it in its entirety, but how do we begin?
That's right. Let's start somewhere.
To me, it's just, I could feel the frustration when I listened to you. And you so
I'm very frustrated about it these days because I put a lot of effort into it since the lockdown and the pandemic and all of that. I thought, well, this is because I know with all this digital talk and this new world talk and this new order talk, I know a lot of young people who are not academic, who are not in any kind of vocation, or they have no kind of vocational qualities. And I know they are the ones going to feel it. So I said, well, this is an avenue where it can help. And it even calls for the level of my thinking about this thing calls for digital aspects and things too,
Of course.
And the promotion globally and thing. It has a lot to do with the digital world and this new era and all of that. So I know they are talented. I am not so savvy, but I know some talent to the savvy youths. I need to do this. And you, graphic this and that. I needed to build something for me. Let me see what it is, and then let's put it together and let's just get it out there. And let us get the thing going. Because I know there are lots of talented youths who I don't have to be good at nothing. I have a great idea. Let's get the people who can effect this idea.
Correct.
And make it work for their benefit,
That is leadership, you see, and we're lacking that too. Because it doesn't even seem to be that they have any ideas.
I don't know. I think they're kind of shoot down. Sometimes I believe that some people, in order to enjoy the spoils at a certain level, this kind of high up kind of style of living, I think they will shut down ideas like that or innovations like that. Now, I am very, very excited about this group that is the Library Association of Innovation. All right.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. I
So
like that. I like the sound of that.
yeah, so I know. I know me. I know the moment I heard about it, I said like, wow. So I text my friend and said, listen, I need to be part of this. And immediately I put them on the front burner. So I can tell you, Mickela, if you want to, you can log on Monday afternoon.
I will. I will. Let me write down. Let me write down. I don't just say something. Right on Monday. So
On
Monday, what time?
Monday
What's going on?
afternoon,
So I could hear them.
at the same time like your program, 4:15 till
Right.
6. I'm going to put them on the front burner.
Nice.
I need
I'll
them to
be
say
listening.
everything. I need to be part of the group. I've invited other people in the area to say what they have to say based on whatever area they are concerning with them, you know. I have a guy from Lake Asphalt that is going to come to talk.
Oh,
He's
I
a
want to hear that.
he's a union rep, you know, and
Right.
the other guys will be of this Innovation Association. I'm excited. I haven't gone to any meeting. I haven't. Only one guy who I know is involved with it. That's the guy who keeps messaging here, and I know him very well, and he knows exactly where I am coming from. I've been
Oh
doing this
yeah.
for years to no avail, but it
Yeah.
don't. It cannot leave me. It's in my DNA. So on Monday, I'm telling everybody now. Everybody can tune in on Monday, and you're going to hear what is going on with library.
Nice.
Focus will be library and environs because
Nice.
you know it affects the close-knit communities around library, you
You're
know.
giving them a voice. You're giving them a voice. Give
Yeah,
them a voice, and let's say you're on.
yes,
Let's hear. Let's
yeah.
hear. You're on. Let's see what your ideas are. And I could imagine how thankful
Yeah,
there must be. So
yeah.
I also echo what you say that everybody,
Mm-hmm. I
let's
need
listen in.
I need
Let's
everybody
listen
to
in on
listen.
Monday.
Yes, I need everybody to listen because I sometimes feel that when I'm talking, I feel like I don't know if people think I'm trying this thing alone for any kind of pips. I don't look for pips and rank and this.
Ah,
That's in the last. That's
1980s.
not even on
I
my
know.
list. It's not at the bottom of my list because it's not on the list.
On your list. All
The
right.
the idea is to get library in that sort of community development mode that
I
we
love
won't
it.
be dependent. Library should not be dependent on anybody.
Mhm.
The richest part of the country, I will say over and over again, is the Southwest Peninsula.
We know that. Everybody know that. And all the money is in the Northwest.
You understand? So it bothers me sometimes when I see the young people walking around like headless chickens and a kind of depressive kind of way. I see it
I
right.
know.
I
I
hate that.
know. I
Library was
know.
never like that in my youthful days. You know, so it bothers me a lot now. So I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing. I know it
Yeah.
might upset some people, but I don't care about that.
Do what you have to do. Upsetting who it doesn't matter. You focus on
That's
what you need to do, and everything else is
mm,
noise that you just close off.
that's right. You said that my great late friend Dr. Joe. He said there's too much noise, David.
Yeah. I
He's
focus on
always
the idea. I don't listen to it. I don't listen to it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
read what happens so that I can at least when we have our show, we can sit
Mhm.
down and let people know and we talk about we little cyber attack, and we talk about this and discuss
Yeah,
things
yeah,
in a healthy way, but to let people know, and that's good. But to
mhm,
say that anybody is going to come to distract me and talk us out of nonsense.
I'm not interested in that. You know, I turn off my listening when I hear nonsense. You know,
Exactly. The amount of thing that my brain had to be thinking about, it don't have space for that.
no, no.
I don't need to clog my brain with that. I don't need to corrupt my brain with
I tell you,
stupidity.
I there's no time for that. You know, and I think the longer they take to help activate things, is the worst things will be panning out. You know,
Hmm.
you see young people getting involved with that whole band negativities. You know, and it's
Hmm.
on the increase like by the minute. When
Oh yeah, by the minute.
if they should just activate something, get something going, the word will spread around with the same negative use. We can go and do this, and we can instead of doing this, let's do that. that looks like, there's no kind of motivation being triggered to make the place, or to have the youth think differently, and
Because they want this cycle to continue. Once this cycle continues,
yeah.
dependency continues.
Mhm.
And dependency then makes me the master.
Yes.
And you need me.
Mhm.
And that is why the cycle will continue and continue, because you refuse to help people to help themselves. And then say, well, then I want to do it, and you're they're lazy, they're this, they're that. When they're coming to you, they have a little idea, they have their group, they have this. You just cutting them down. Right? Come and put a poster.
Yeah.
Come on, this during election. That's your job as a youth.
I tell you.
To me, it will end. It will end. And I have to tell you, I really am looking forward to listening on Monday.
Yes.
I will find the time to do that.
I'll call you. I'll remind you.
Yeah. Do that. And I will follow you. But you just keep looking.
Present.
Yes. I know you keep. Listen.
Yes.
December wouldn't just be about presents. It will be about presence.
Nice.
Right? Good.
We need that. We need it badly. We need to have some kind of
my friend. Yes, my friend. And I mean, like I say, you are doing a great job. And, motivating people. And that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Other people who will be listening, other young people, they'll say, okay, now, if these guys and them could do this, let me do this too now. Let me set up with about 3 or 4 weeks. I have this idea.
Yes.
That's all you need. That's all you need. And I will always say that I have not seen governments care about youths. They and even when you're training youths to get into the political arena, you're training them in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to afford the designer suit.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to get the car, the Range Rover, and the this and the that, and you'll get that, and right? And you're going to sit on the parliament and rock back on the chair. And and everybody will know you, and when you come, you stand up, and that's what you're training them.
Yes.
Training them social consciousness. You're not training them. What were you doing in your community? Again.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan?
Yeah.
A project development, a plan for the constituents. If you don't have a plan, give me the idea.
Yeah.
I love to see. Well, I know how. I shouldn't say I love to see. You know how these fellas get these and girls really just get these seats. I know how. I know how. But it don't work like that on the Patriotic Fund. So anybody interested when we open screening, and you're beginning of next year,
yes,
I want to hear what you want to do for your constituency. And you will have 110 support from me. 110 support. Think about your constituency. Think about where you're living. Think about what you would like to see your constituency become. And come on screen. I'll open it not soon. I'll tell you about it. I'm keeping that one for you.
Fantastic. Well, I know you stay the entire program with me. I want to thank you.
Yeah, I can't ever leave you. So I just tell them, you're just Dory, say. I can't. Yeah. I can't leave. I say, okay,
I know.
A little bit later. It doesn't matter. I like it. We always have such a great time. Thank you so much, Dave. And thank you to the people listening. And thank you to your friend for texting in and letting us know. I don't know his name. I'd just like to say, keep up the good work. Do not feel disenchanted or despondent. You're going to face a lot of obstacles on the way, but that will help you to grow.
On Monday, you'll know his name by Monday. On Monday.
Great. No problem. I'll be listening. Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mickela, and have a
and let me just say that I wish not just the Hindu community, but Trinidad and Tobago a happy Diwali.
Yes, Shub Diwali too.
Shub Diwali, and a happy and safe Diwali.
Yes.
And I shall see you next week, my friend.
Yes, good. Now, if the program doesn't, speaking about that, Monday's a holiday, so I might have to shift the program to Tuesday.
Oh yeah, Monday is a holiday. Look, and I'm a Hindu. What is wrong with me? You see, all I concentrate about is work, 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 work,
Yeah,
work. Holiday, holiday, holiday. So
yes,
yeah,
I think I'll have to readjust to Tuesday. Yeah, I'll have to readjust to Tuesday.
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So you be
Okay,
good.
my friend. Take care.
Yes, it's
Bye
been a
bye.
pleasure. Yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye there. Bye.
That's it for today's edition of Hard Talk Power 102 Digital Thursday. That's been Mickela Panday